In the 1950s, America didn't just recover from war, it took off. Jet fighters like the Lockheed F-94 Starfire didn't just rule the skies, they landed right into the world of car design. The jet age wasn't just about technology, it symbolized dominance, speed, and the future. And the American auto industry, especially Ford, couldn't ignore the wave. They didn't just borrow aircraft shapes, they brought the glass canopy cockpit into cars. The result? One of the boldest and most debated cars of the decade, the Mercury Sun Valley. A coupe with a see-through roof inspired by fighter jets. Sounds incredible? Or a solar oven on wheels? The story behind this car is more complex than it seems. And maybe, just maybe, it was America's first real attempt to build a car that could look straight into the sky. To dive deeper into this car's story, we need to go back to 1954, an era when American cars were stretching their tail fins and piling on chrome. And yet Mercury did something no one expected. They didn't add more lines. Instead, they had removed the traditional roof, replacing it with a massive sheet of blue-tinted glass. The result? A two-door coupe with a semi-transparent roof, as if you were driving beneath the sky itself. It was sold as a premium option on the 1954 Monterey, targeting those who wanted to stand out rather than blend in. Fueled by that classic 1950s optimism, Mercury believed this was a game changer. They boldly called the Sun Valley the key to a market never before tapped. But beneath that beautiful sea green canopy was a much warmer reality. This bold idea quickly hit a predictable snag. Cabin heat under the sun became unbearable. But if you thought Mercury was the first to dream up this bold concept, think again. Long before the Mercury Sun Valley arrived, the idea of a transparent roof had already been tested in the early 1940s. A man named Clarkston Warmer believed that if airplanes could have glass canopies, why not cars? With help from materials supplier Roman Haas, he built quarter-inch thick plexiglass panels, heat-molded and fitted onto Ford convertibles throughout that decade. The result was a driving experience like no other, open sky views without the weather worries. But after just a few summers, the problem became clear. Cabin temperatures were brutal. In an era where air conditioning was still a luxury, early adopters quickly realized that the price of a great view was constant sweating. But that dream didn't die. It just needed the right hands to bring it back. And those hands belonged to Mercury. With key improvements aimed at correcting past mistakes, Mercury revived the idea of a glass roof, this time with a more practical approach. No more clear panels that turned the cabin into an oven. Mercury introduced a special greenish-blue tinted glass that reduced interior heat by up to 60% and minimized glare for passengers. It was one of the earliest uses of heat-filtering glass in a mainstream automobile. But Mercury didn't stop there. They also offered a clever solution, an aluminized nylon roof cover attachable with zippers and snaps. Drivers could cover the entire glass or shade only the driver or passenger side, a customizable experience. The roof structure was reinforced by a prominent arch known as a basket handle, ensuring rigidity where the metal roof once was. More than just functional, it added visual flair, recalling fighter jet cockpits and giving the car a bold, unmistakable identity. So, who was the mind behind this daring, unconventional design? None other than one of Ford's quiet design legends, David Ash. Ash didn't just help shape the Mercury Sun Valley, he was one of the design minds behind Ford's most iconic vehicles, including the Thunderbird, the Continental Mark III, and most famously, the original Mustang. In the 1950s, while most designers were limited by existing chassis, Ash stood out for his rule-breaking ideas. With the Sun Valley, he turned what was usually a hidden, ignored section, the roof, into the car's most striking visual feature. His influence wasn't just skin-deep. Ash also crafted the unique round speedometer in the 1958 Edsel, a quirky detail that collectors still love today. David Ash may not be a name everyone remembers, but every time sunlight shines through a Sun Valley roof, it passes through his vision, the vision of a designer who dared to leap ahead of his time. But even after that bold idea became reality, Mercury knew one thing: to make the Sun Valley work, they needed more than just good design. They needed to understand the buyer. Mercury recognized the Sun Valley's glass roof was a double-edged sword, beautiful, but not for everyone. And because of that, they issued one of the strangest dealer memos in automotive history. It read, "A good salesman will not risk long-term reputation by selling a Sun Valley to a buyer who doesn't really want the glass roof. One dissatisfied customer is too high a price for one successful sale." The message: don't oversell it. Let the car and its glass roof speak for itself. In an era when close the deal at all costs was the norm, this was almost revolutionary, but it revealed something deeper. Mercury wasn't selling a car for everyone. They were targeting people who wanted to be different, understood what that meant, and were willing to pay for it. Mercury wasn't just cautious in selling the Sun Valley, they were clever in advertising it too. The 1954 Sun Valley brochure looked like a year-round spring dream. Golden sunshine, windows down, smiling drivers, and passengers cruising happily, despite the background clearly showing winter scenes. Strangely, no one wore coats, just light sweaters, as if the magical glass roof could melt snow with style alone. The tagline: "Enjoy the sunshine anytime, anywhere." But reality had its own story. Even with heat-reducing tint, the glass roof still made the cabin noticeably warm on sunny days. And without the optional roof cover, it could feel like you were riding inside a mobile greenhouse. But the Sun Valley wasn't just built to be admired from the outside. Step inside, and you'll find a cabin full of personality, classic and unmistakably American. The dashboard was clean and intuitive, with classic pull-push knobs for the lights, heater, and fan. A wonderfully mechanical touch from the 1950s. No screens, no warning lights, just analog gauges for fuel, temperature, voltage, and charge. At the center stood a large two-spoke steering wheel, bearing the winged god Mercury and a stylized M behind him. A small detail, but one that screamed post-war American pride. Seat materials and colors varied widely, from turquoise vinyl to basket weave, nylon fabric, and premium leather. Not overly fancy, not overflowing with features, but the Sun Valley's interior was the kind of space where Americans could proudly say, "This is my car, and it doesn't look like anyone else's." The Sun Valley didn't just stand out for its glass roof. It also marked a technical turning point. It was the first Mercury to feature Ford's all-new Y-block V8, introduced in 1954. Before then, Ford relied on the aging flathead V8, displacing 239 cubic inches and producing just 125 horsepower. But rivals like Oldsmobile's Rocket and Chrysler's HEMI were upping the game. Ford had to respond. In the Sun Valley, the Y-block displaced 256 cubic inches, delivering 161 horsepower at 4,400 RPM, with stronger torque and a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of around 15 seconds. Not fast, but respectable given the car's weight of over 3,300 pounds. Technically, the Y block featured overhead valve pushrod design, a low-mounted camshaft, and a Y-shaped intake manifold for improved airflow. But it wasn't flawless. Owners often complained of oil sludge buildup due to inadequate internal oil passages, leading many to install external oil lines as a workaround. While not a mechanical marvel, the Y block marked Ford's pivot toward modern V8 engineering, where horsepower, durability, and smart design became the name of the game. Despite its bold design and new engine, the Mercury Sun Valley failed to capture the mainstream. In the end, it lasted just 2 short years. In 1954, its debut year, Mercury built 9,761 Sun Valleys out of more than 259,000 total units. By 1955, sales dropped sharply. Only 1,787 units sold, even though Mercury's overall volume had climbed past 329,000 cars. That means less than 0.6% of Mercury's total production featured the signature glass roof, a far cry from the initial dream of launching a brand new market segment. Why? The design was polarizing. The roof caused heat issues, visibility felt strange, and the price premium over regular models made buyers hesitant. In post-war America, practicality still trumped futuristic flair. The Sun Valley was meant to be a refreshing breeze in the market, but in the end, it became just that. A cool idea that drifted away, quietly forgotten by time. Though the Sun Valley struggled in the US, it had a rare twin across the northern border. The Monarch Lucerne Sun Valley sold exclusively in Canada. Monarch was a sub-brand of Ford of Canada, created to serve regions without separate Ford and Mercury dealerships. Essentially, Monarch cars shared Mercury platforms but wore distinct badging and styling, a Canadian Mercury in spirit. And yes, the Lucerne Sun Valley came with the same blue-tinted glass roof, the basket handle structure, and similar trim levels. But production was extremely limited. Only a few hundred were made. And according to multiple sources, fewer than 10 Monarch Lucerne Sun Valleys are known to survive today. An obscure footnote to most, but a hidden treasure for classic car collectors. The Mercury Sun Valley wasn't a bestseller, nor was it a major technical breakthrough. But it remains a fascinating chapter in American automotive history, where ambition, creativity, and sky-high dreams came together. A coupe with a glass roof to the sky. It sounded like science fiction in the 1950s. And that's exactly why the Sun Valley deserves to be remembered, because it dared to dream even if it didn't succeed. Today, only a few survive. But whenever a Sun Valley rolls into a classic car show, people stop, not for performance, but for the story. And now it's your turn. If you lived in the 1950s, would you have chosen the Mercury Sun Valley as your ride? Or passed on the glass roof in the summer heat? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating drives through automotive history.